Hi, my name is Rachel, and today we're going to talk about Season 2 of Shadow and Bone and what we will probably be seeing from the book Siege and Storm, which is book 2 in the Grisha trilogy. I'm not going to be talking about what will be happening with the Crows today, just because it is possible that they are still getting their own spin-off TV show via Netflix. So until we know more about that, I'm going to be talking about the two books separately. Today I'm going to talk about where our characters from the actual Grisha trilogy will probably be going in Season 2, new characters, some fan favorites that we will be seeing, and some differences between where the show will be going versus where the book went, just because they had already set up things within the TV show that now do not allow for us to see things exactly as they played out in the book Siege and Storm. So we'll talk about that today as well. This video is going to be filled with spoilers for basically the entirety of the series, so if that is not something that you are interested in, I would check out now. We're going to be talking in depth about the book Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is book 2 in the trilogy, and I will be talking about the beginning, middle, and end, and basically leave nothing out that's important because I want to talk about what's going to be translated into Season 2. So again, this video will be spoilery. In the book, we left off with Alina running away and the Darkling seemingly being defeated. In the show, Alina thinks that the Darkling is dead and her and Mal want to leave but eventually return and destroy the fold. That was not the case in the book. In the book, they plan to run away and make a new life together far away from the fold and Ravka. Also different in the book was that Alina had, rather than the antlers of the stag being fashioned within her skin and her eventually pressing it down into her own skin, which was weird and gross, David fashioned the antlers into a necklace which she wore around her neck, and in order to cover this, in Siege and Storm at the beginning, she is wearing a scarf, and there's this really funny moment right off the bat where Mal is talking to somebody and the guy gives her a funny look. She asks why he's looking at her that way, and Mal said, "I had to explain why you're always wearing a scarf, so I told him that you have a goiter." Her and Mal have started a relationship together. They are living together in the beginning of Siege and Storm, whereas it was more of a tentative thing whether or not they were together or just friends at the end of Season 1 of Shadow and Bone. So in the book, Alina and Mal, as I said, have fled. They are in Novyi Zem, but he finds them within the first few pages. It happens almost immediately, and this is because Alina has been using the hairpins that she was wearing the night that she fled in order to pay for passage across the world to Novyi Zem, and he uses this trail of hairpins in order to find her. This is sort of mirrored in how she paid Kaz Brecker in the TV show with this necklace, so I'm wondering if maybe they'll do a similar thing. Immediately, we are introduced to Sturmhond, a privateer who the Darkling has hired to take them across the sea and find the Sea Whip. And the Sea Whip is another one of Morozova's amplifiers, just like the Stag was a amplifier. So Mal, the tracker, is forced to track the Sea Whip because the Darkling wants to use it as another amplifier in order to, again, take control of Alina's power. So while the Darkling is busy trying to capture the Sea Whip, another ship appears and Alina and Mal flee along with Sturmhond and his crew, among whom are Tolya and Tamar, who are two fan favorite characters. They are half-shoe heartrenders, and Tamar carries a badass axe. She is one of my favorite characters in this series, and I'm really excited to see her come to life on screen. Tolya and Tamar, hopefully we will hear their backstory. They are brother and sister, and they did not grow up in Ravka and become part of the Second Army. They ran away and they joined Sturmhond's crew. They all escape the Darkling, and meanwhile Sturmhond is also able to get the Sea Whip. The Darkling, working for him, has these shadow creatures called Nichevoya, who we did see at the end of the finale of Season 1, and they do feature heavily in Siege and Storm, so we will be seeing them throughout Season 2. These are not like the Volcra, whereas he accidentally created the Volcra, but the Volcra were not under his control. The Nichevoya are a type of monster that is is directly under his control that he created using Merzost, which is the forbidden magic. Sturmhond tells Alina that he is taking her to West Ravka to his client who paid him to get her. He doesn't seem very trustworthy, but Alina has no choice other than to go with him. From a picture in a book, Alina learns that there are not 2, but actually 3 amplifiers. So the stag, the sea whip, and also the firebird. And she needs all the power she can get in order to defeat the Darkling. A fabricator takes the scales from the sea whip and creates basically a bracelet that goes around her wrist. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this since they went such a different direction with the stag horns. I wonder what they will do with the sea whip scales. Hopefully it's not more creepy under the skin stuff. Body horror is not my thing. She does test the amplifier and it does work, and Mal is not happy about this newfound amplifier power, which again, they did change Mal quite a bit in terms of his attitude towards Alina's powers, so I'm really hoping that they continue on that direction in season 2 and don't make it awkward and unbearable to sit there and watch Mal be upset all the time about Alina being powerful. I have very high hopes considering where they went in season 1 with Mal. When they get ashore in West Ravka, Sturmhond's ship turns into a flying machine. They end up going through the Shadowfold, have to massacre some Volcras, but Alina sees the Darkling, or thinks she does, in the fold. Things get ugly and they crash. Upon crashing, Sturmhond's face changes and he turns out to be Nikolai Lantsov, the second prince of Ravka. They come upon some soldiers and he tells them he brought the Sun Summoner home, and Alina punches him in the face, which I absolutely loved. Nikolai is a fan favorite. I cannot wait to see him brought to life on the screen. We are still waiting for them to announce who was casted as Nikolai. I think they are still going through that process as of now, and we are about mid-October of 2021 at this point. So hopefully soon we will be getting a casting announcement, including not only Nikolai, but Tolya and Tamar. Nikolai explains that he is trying to help his country. He asks Alina to go back to Osalta, the capital, with him because she is Ravka's only hope. He wants Alina to, first of all, marry him and also unite the first and second armies. So again, the first army is made up of regular soldiers and the second army is made up of entirely Grisha soldiers. Alina agrees to go with him, but she does not want to marry him. She wants to lead the second army. In the books, people are starting to just now recognize Alina as a saint, and this is because the Apparat has been spreading rumors about her being a saint, whereas in the TV show, they already went that direction, so that will be a little bit different. She'll already be grappling with that, so that will not be so much of a theme in season 2 as it was in book 2. When they arrive at Osalta, Nikolai kisses Alina to make the crowd happy upon their arrival. She's not super happy about this, and neither is Mal. When they get back to Osalta, the king and queen are very happy to see their son, and the king appoints Alina as the leader of the second army. The Grisha aren't super happy about this, but Alina is in charge nonetheless. Alina does go to see Bagra, who we found out at the end of book 1 and also season 1 that she is the Darkling's mother, finds out that the Darkling blinded her. I'm wondering if they will go this direction. She talks to Bagra about Morozova because Alina is trying to research Morozova and find out more about the third amplifier. Mal, Tolya, and Tamar take Alina to go to a party outside of the palace. Things get out of hand and they have to run away, but while out, they run into the Apparat, and he, like I said, has been spreading rumors about Alina being a saint. He asks her to come with him so that she can learn to get stronger, but she refuses because he's creepy. But he claims to have information on Morozova. I think that this will likely happen, but I wonder if they will just keep him in the palace and continue on the same road that they had him doing in season 1, where he, scurries out of a corner in the palace, starts talking really ominously, and she, runs away. Or if they will go the same direction in season 2 that they went in Siege and Storm, where he will be working outside of the palace. And that is necessary for the ending, but they could always change things. Mal tries to kiss Alina at one point, but Alina has been seeing visions of the Darkling, and she thinks that she sees him while Mal kisses her. Mal gets really annoyed. I'm really hoping that they change this scene in the book. It was really disappointing to me, and it just sent Mal down this really boring road where he was whiny and just insufferable. So I'm hoping that they change this entirely. I do hope that she will be seeing these visions of the Darkling and wondering whether or not they are real. But I really hope they don't pit the Darkling and Mal against each other like it was in the books. They did such a good job of changing his character to make him absolutely lovable in season 1, and I'm hoping that they continue that trend on in season 2. Meanwhile, Nikolai continues to hit on Alina and tells her that he wants to kiss her again, but won't until she's no longer thinking about Mal. What a gentleman. Mal, in his frustration, starts to fight Grisha. Alina goes and sees him fight and catches him kiss Zoya after a fight. Mal and Alina fight about this. Mal complains about being a commoner and he just wants the old Alina back, but Alina can't do that. Alina then has a vision of kissing Mal, but ends up actually kissing the Darkling. And she's still wondering if she's losing her mind or if these visions are actually real. Alina, starting to feel like she's unraveling, decides to leave the city gates. She gets swarmed by all of these people throwing themselves at her because they think that she's a saint. Tolya and Tamar show up to come save her, and Tolya, really upset at Mal for not being there, nearly chokes him. They start picking up on clues about the Firebird, the third amplifier, and Mal is dead set on going to go track the thing. Nikolai's birthday occurs, and we learn that his brother made a deal with the Fjordans in the north, opened the roads, which means the Darkling has a way into Ravka, and immediately after this, the palace is attacked. Nikolai's brother is murdered by the Nichevoya, and Nikolai and his parents flee on his flying ship. There is a huge battle, and eventually Alina and her friends, after many people have died, run to a chapel where the Darkling does find them. They are trapped in the chapel. Alina tries to negotiate with the Darkling to say that her friends will go free if she goes with him, because what he really wants is her. The Darkling tells her he was actually there in all of those visions, so she was not losing her mind. The Darkling also shows her that he had his Nichevoya attack Genya, and now Genya is covered in scars. If you've ever seen fan art of Genya wearing an eye patch, this is why. Alina goes to the Darkling and gives over her power, but then the Darkling and Alina's powers sort of combine, and Alina takes a bit of his power and tries to kill both of them. Mal gets in the way, takes her, and they run away. They're both very weak. Alina tells the Nichevoya to take down the Darkling. Now that she has a little bit of his power, she's able to command them. They escape, and when Alina wakes up, they are in underground tunnels, taken to the apparat by some people who worship her for being a saint, but Alina's powers are gone and she can no longer summon the sun. I think that they will keep a lot of these things the same. A few things will be different, but I'm really looking forward to several things. So first of all, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Nichevoya and what they're going to do with that. The way that they showed them at the end of season 1, I think was absolutely perfect in showing how ominous and huge and daunting they can be. I'm also really looking forward to Nikolai. Nikolai is sort of the iconic role in this series because, as you may know, there are 3 parts in this series. So the original Shadow and Bone trilogy, then 6 of Crows, and then the Nikolai duology. So Nikolai plays a huge role throughout the entirety of this story that Leigh Bardugo wove together. And to be honest, he is my favorite character throughout the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I am absolutely looking forward to seeing what they will do with him and bringing him to life and bringing all of his quips to the screen and seeing him as both Sturmhond the privateer and Nikolai the prince. Also really looking forward to the relationship built between Tolya and Tamar with Alina. They become her sort of private security essentially, and I really enjoy the relationship between the 3 of them. I'm also looking forward to the idea of Alina exploring her darker inclinations. She didn't really have any of these in season 1, so I'm looking forward to seeing her kind of go down that route and her taking control of the Second Army if they do choose to go that route. Let me know what you're most excited to see. Leave your comments and questions down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.